Hi, this is Alex. Today I'm going to show you something really exciting that many of you have asked me for. So today I'm going to show you how to build a subject matter experts database out of your LinkedIn connections. I don't know if you know, but LinkedIn under GDPR is obliged to gather and to share with you all the connection data and all the personal data that you have gathered all over the years. And you are allowed to ask for this data and to download it. And thanks to LLMs, you can enrich this data, you can build an agent upon it, and you can ask it anything you want. So we will do a subject matter experts database that you can consult whenever you want, whatever you are interested in, whether in an industry or a function, or you have a very specific question to reach out to your connection to. So will be something really useful that you can use every day. Okay, let's go. Okay, so first what you need to do, you open your LinkedIn profile, you select me, you select settings and privacy, and you select data privacy tab where you select download your data. You click download archive, and in 2 hours you will receive on your email a link to the database to be downloaded. So you receive such an email, you click on the link, and you have a full directory of the data from your profile. So the file that you have received looks like that. It has 30 files, and what will be interesting for us is the connections. Other things are the invitations that you have sent, the other targeting data, so very interesting information that LinkedIn has gathered over the years. So it's interesting to look at it, but for this example, we will need only connections. So we are opening the connections file, and what we see is a real mess. It's a CSV file with all the data in one row, not separated. So we will need to do some cleaning. So I'm going to use Copilot in order to show you how to clean the data. I will use the voice mode using Whisper Flow. So please help me clean this data by separating data into particular columns. Data should be separated knowing that the separator is a comma. Okay. Let's go. Oh, it has done the task very well, separating information into name, surname, the email, the LinkedIn profile, the company, and the position columns. So it performed really quickly and really well. Now, before proceeding, I will need to anonymize this data. We're still under GDPR. So unfortunately, I need to change all the names and surnames into some dummy data in order to show you how to proceed. Okay, so we have the fictitious names and surnames right now. It looks well. So depending on what you need this database for, we will be working on enrichment of this data. So for example, what I'm most frequently needing is to consult with an expert from a given field, from a given industry, from a given position. So I will do enrichment when it comes to the position and the type of company. So first, I will be classifying company according to the industry. So I will be asking Copilot in order to, let's do it. Now create an additional column next to the company column. Prepare a classification of 40 most frequent industries such as retail, real estate, oil and gas, and so on, and classify the company names according to these categories in this newly created column. So you might be wondering why I'm using Whisper Flow, because it allows me to enter the commands quicker than by typing, even 2 or 3 times quicker. So it's really useful. Plus you can, express everything you have on your mind. So I find this tool, the Whisperflow, very useful in any tool you need, whether it's replying to emails, whether it's corresponding with your LLM, and so on. So you need to try it for sure. We see that it has successfully created a list of 40 industries, and it has classified the company names into these industry types. But we see that there are some companies that are allocated to other, like UBS, but also smaller ones. So for smaller ones, it's pretty obvious, but for bigger ones, it's still unsatisfactory. So please classify companies which have been allocated to other by looking on the web and classifying these companies into remaining categories. Let's go. So funny enough, Copilot says that looking on the web would be extremely time-consuming and impractical and potentially unreliable. So what it advises me to do is to select a sample and to look on the net. Of course, we can do it. We can also add some database, for example, of the biggest companies of Europe where the industry is indicated, and to help it to classify these remaining companies. So you can choose whatever approach you like. And the second thing I want to show you is that I will like to reclassify the functions of my connections. Because, everyone can phrase their position in their own words. So it's not a well-structured classification list. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ask, okay, so take the position column, create a list of 40 most frequent positions in a company, like the executive layer, CEO and founder, for example, like financial professionals and CFOs, HR professionals, legal counsels, sales representatives, and so on, and classify positions according to these categories in the newly added column. Please note that when choosing to work with Copilot, you can also choose the model you would like to work with, like ChatGPT 5.4 or 5.5 or Claude Opus 4.6 or 4.7. If you don't see the Claude Opus in your Copilot, let me know. I can do an additional material on that, how to enable this function. Great, we see that Copilot successfully categorized the positions of my connections into specific categories like CFO, finance leadership, data analytics, AI. So this would be very useful in order to parse this database. So, okay, I'm ready with enriching the information of my connections. Of course, you can add whatever additional category or column you would like to have. You can also add additional sources of data, so it would make it even more useful. But this is a simple example which I want to show you. So now we will build an assistant based on this connection list. I'm opening the Copilot tab and I'm selecting New Agent. New Agent. Describe the agent you want to create. So I would be, okay, let's go here. New agent. LinkedIn experts and the instructions. So this would be a connections database that I will consult in order to find the subject matter experts. Use only the database with the connections, names and surnames attached. I will ask about a list of experts from a given field, an industry, or a function, and answer by listing name and surname of all the people that match my conditions. And I'm attaching the file that would be used here. But first, I need to change the extension of my file to Excel because it's the extension that works in Copilot. And right now, I'm attaching this file as a database. Now I click Create, creating your agent. Okay, the agent has been successfully created. Go to agent. Okay, so it's test time. I'm looking for experts from finance divisions in retail companies. Name all the experts from my database. Let's see what we have. Okay, it uses Python in order to parse my Excel file. This is good news. This means that it understands what I need and it works on the document. Okay, so I see it has given me only 2 names. Of course, these are dummy exemplary names. It's not really satisfactory, and I doubt that I have only 2 connections in finance divisions in retail companies. So now let's try a different tool. Let's try Notebook LM, which is particularly good in terms of RAG databases. So particular sources of documentation that we can parse and we can ask about. So I'm selecting Create New. Let's start a notebook. I'm uploading the file that we have been working on. Okay, it's being uploaded. The untitled notebook, LinkedIn experts. LinkedIn experts. Yeah. Now ask the question. Based on the attached database, list all experts in finance professions in retail industries. Name names and surnames and companies which they work in. Create a table. Let's go. Okay, it has given me 3 answers. It has classified the company and the position, so it's a very kind of a clear answer to my question. So let's try another example. Now list all executives, board members, and CEOs working for real estate industry. So now the answer is more comprehensive because I have more connections there in the real estate industry, of course. So you see, you have the list. And of course, normally I would also ask to add the link to LinkedIn profile, but in order to not to reveal the personal data, I didn't want to add this column. As I said, you also can enrich this database with further information like emails, telephone numbers, and so on. Having this completed database makes you more productive, and you can, of course, upload it to any LLM you want. You can build a gem on your Gemini profile. You can build a custom GPT using ChatGPT. You can use Copilot, as you've seen, Notebook LM. So there's a plethora of options. Of course, it's up to you which LLM you prefer. My preferred solution here is Notebook LM because, as you see, it's most rigorous in terms of parsing a RAG database. So to sum up, we have built a really useful database of your connections that you consult whenever you want. Of course, you can add additional sources of information like from CRM, from business cards, from other sources of information that will make this database even more useful, even more comprehensive, and even more applicable in other case scenarios. So if you like this episode, leave me a comment and suggest what other types of case studies you would like to watch. Bye!